All right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of From the Chair with Big Money Exchange, where inclusion matters. Tonight, they welcome El Guerrero Cuervo to the show with our illustrious Big Money co host and the host that just likes to yak and is a little blah and could be a little hungover. Who knows?
And there's a
We call him
forehead.
we call him the talking forehead, Mr. Nathan Noss.
Well, thank you very much. Apparently, like I keep saying, they forget that I have a nose and a mouth. So I'm thinking about getting a shirt made with like arrows pointed down from my forehead.
Well,
Why not? Gotta market it, right?
why don't you get to your hosting job and ask some questions?
Well,
That's
somebody's
coming from
demanding
that little
tonight.
icon up there.
So, who were some of your wrestling heroes growing up?
Oof. I have a lot, I guess growing up, so this gonna kind of throw my age out there is, growing up millennial. So I would say Eddie Guerrero was one. Um, Kurt Angle, The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin,
What?
DD, DDP, WCW.
Wow.
Um, Also Ray, WCW Ray. I do like Rey Mysterio overall, but I would say that was like the glory times between him and Eddie was WCW. Juvie. Um, I could pull a whole lot. I'm a big wrestling fan. I could pull a whole lot. Like, I watched even some oldies too, like Bam Bam Bigelow. I watched some old ones. Macho Man Randy Savage. You talking about that era? I love watching Macho Man. I'll say probably my favorite to watch overall, to my opinion, is very entertaining. Is Steamboat.
Wow.
Steamboat.
Good
I will
call.
100% go with Steamboat. And current roster, I guess, when Eddie passed, I think I converted to Randy Orton. I enjoyed him. Sadly, he's not in the ring due to whatever reason. He hurt himself, but Randy was pretty good. Definitely have. I did I love to hate him during the Evolution era with him and Triple H, Ric Flair, and Batista. So
Yeah.
it was good. There's a lot. I have a whole list, so we could probably be here. Right, we could probably hold the entire podcast with a list of all the rest. I watched everyone.
So that
You
was
know,
it. Have a good night.
yeah,
Oh,
Thunder Liger back in New Japan. Like I watched all. Like I enjoyed all. It's a good time. Wrestling's just good, great to watch.
yep. What is the worst or scariest injury you have had in your career?
Scariest. I would say it was during like a practice. Where I was trying out new moves or techniques, whatever. I was trying to do a head spin, a head scissor to head spin, but had no mask, so my hair caught traction on the ring. So when my body twisted, my head did not. So my entire neck,
Oh,
clack, clack, clack. Um, that's
Wow.
probably the scariest because my fire ambition that week we had a show, and I took medication to keep the pain away, but that medication also put me in the not in the best state of mind. So I was pushing through the pain and everything. So I was probably scared because it lasted for a while. And so I think that's one of the ones that's kind of still lingered to this day, to be honest, my neck. But that's probably it. And I think the next show I jackknifed my neck too. So
Oh,
yeah.
oh.
So you know, the way I see it, it is what it is, right? It
it's part of the business.
is part of the business.
So, in doing my research, I found out that you wrestled in Japan for a while. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I actually started my career in Japan. I started in Okinawa, the island of Okinawa. Um, was there taking opportunities. There was a small promotion there called Ryukyu Dragon Pro Wrestling. They're doing very well for themselves. Started there, and I bugged them a lot, and that's how I got my position. Realistically, um, at the time, my wife was pregnant with my kid, and she was craving her mom's food. So I was like, I'm not leaving Japan. So I sent her to go home to spend time with her mom. and I was bored, and I was watching a match. I think it was Raw. I think it was Daniel Bryan, and I was like, man, like I've always wanted to do this. So one day, just got up in front of promotion to do it. They didn't offer any sort of wrestling. They didn't have no, they have a wrestling school, so they didn't offer any training. So they's like, we don't do it. And it took me like probably like 5 days to find them because I went to the location, but their Facebook was so outdated. I didn't know if they were still up, and so I started there. And there's a guy named Ryukyu Dog Dingo. He's my mentor. He's an Australian dude. He has talked to me. He's been in business for a while. He's like, hey, we don't do any training here. However, I asked him, can I just ask you questions after shows because I want to pursue this in the States when I get back and all this, when I go and bounce back and forth, because I feel like the States was the place to be, where like where all these, like MLW and all these bigger wrestling promotions and all that we're at. So I was like, let me go there. He said that's fine. So for roughly about a year, I was always, pestering him. He admitted to me eventually when we became friends. It's like you were so annoying. But yeah, then he remembered me. And yeah, he remembered me, and then eventually he said, "I'm trying to make a Gaijin faction." Which, if you don't know what Japanese, Gaijin means non-Japanese faction. And so he needed to build it up, and he asked me, "Do I want to train to become a wrestler for that faction?" I said yes, and that's how I started.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a whole.
So
Yeah, go ahead.
go ahead.
No.
So Nathan, are you going to ask another question? Oh, sorry.
No worries.
What were you saying, Tony?
I was going to say, so are you going to hog this interview, or are you going to let your co-host ask the question? That was 2 questions you already asked.
He is holding the money though. That's that's a benefit. No, he's there looking good.
I'm doing my job.
Yeah.
I don't know. I get more worried about the fact that he's sniffing the money every time before he asks a question. Huh?
It's smell of sweet victory. That's all it is. All the victories my team has. How old were you when you realized that you wanted to become a pro wrestler?
I'll say when I was really little, to be honest. Like I always wanted to be a pro. I always found the whole side of the business fascinating. I just didn't pursue it because due to life, things came up. And then one time I just decided to get out my butt and actually pursue it, and I did. So I started my venture, my career, I guess, at the age of 25. So I started very late compared to other people. But my grandfather did it, so I'm a second generation wrestler. So my grandfather did it. So I was like, it's not far fetched to be, another person of the family to do it. You know what I mean? So I just say I went for it. So, but as a kid, I always wanted to be a wrestler. Ever since I saw Edge, spear Jeff Hardy off the ladder.
That was a hell of
I
a
mean,
match.
the way he's in the ladder matches. So, yeah, I don't know why that fascinated me.
I think that spot fascinated everybody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it did. I'm not going to ask, but I'm going to make a quick comment. Man, your voice reminds me so much of Rey Mysterio.
It really does.
Yeah.
All right, that's a compliment. I'll take it. He is every lucha's hero. So.
That's true though. Him and Eddie.
Yeah. They paved the way. Obviously there's been multiple lucha stars before them, and that paved. But I think they cemented, at least in the US scene, what we could do. When WCW had the whole I think WCW by far to this day even had the best cruiserweight division.
Too.
Yeah,
I remember.
I met him.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I met Psychosis when I was in California. So
Yep.
yeah.
Well, there goes my question. He's been in California, so I don't need a.
Yeah, I've been to California. That's my 2 spots I hit is it was Japan. Now I'm here, and then California is usually once or twice a year. I'll head up there.
Oh, really? What promotion out here or out there in California?
So recently I've made acquaintances with Disney. So like ORC. So One Ring Circus is one. I have wrestled for One Ring Circus, Fist Combat, SoCal Pro.
SoCal Pro, okay, yeah.
I wrestled for no smaller shows, EWF, um, uh, uh, Lucha Pro. I think it's FTLL and FMLL.
Oh, okay.
Baja
I've heard of
Star,
them.
yeah, Baja Stars.
Okay, that's all the way in San Diego. Like by
Yeah, so a lot of the stuff's like because it's closer to where I'm at. A lot of stuff is in SoCal, the SoCal area. So I've done majority of the stuff there. Um,
how about Inoki Dojo's Pursuit? I don't know if you've heard of them.
like I haven't. Like I said, like I think because I don't, I go back and forth through here in
Right.
California, so I'm still trying to establish myself there as well. So yeah, but the promotions I've been to and the opportunities I've had has been phenomenal.
And they are good promotions out there. Lucha Pro, that's huge in LA right now.
Yeah,
They got some good talent.
yeah. The one that put me on the most there was Vito Fratelli.
Dude, he's an animal.
Yeah, that we have a good story, man. When no one had faith in me, Vito did.
Oh, he really pushes
Well,
everybody.
the thing with him is that when I met him, I went with I don't know if you are aware of Commando.
Oh, I know Commando. Yeah,
Yeah, so I went with him to LA, and we went to this one show. I think I can't recall where else. It was like Central LA, I think, and it was this gymnasium. And I helped build the ring, whatever. And I was, new. I was, took my gear with me, whatever. And this guy's like, "Hey, can we make a spot for him?" Well, I guess they didn't know what to put me, but none of the guys looked at me like, "Oh, this guy's just, some dude, right? We don't know who he is."
right.
And they said, "We're gonna put you with Vito." And Vito was like, "Hey man, I'll work with you. What you want to do?" And I told him, he's like, and he gave me hints like, "Hey, we what you want to put up, what how you want to do this overall, like for the match and this and that and where the case would be." And in general, I was like, "Hey man, look, to be honest, like I had no expectation. The only thing I know is like from Japan, and the Japan style is completely different here. So as a competitor, I don't know what I would want to do with you realistically, but we'll see what we will do when we go out there for the crowd. We'll do what we gotta do because that's what we do."
He's a
And
great guy, but his son is really annoying. Just say.
yeah, we had a match. We had a match, and even when we were trying to take our heads off of each other, we erupted. That match itself opened eyes to the guys that were the old heads that were up there looking at us, and like, oh my, this guy from Japan is actually really good, and so that opened up more doors for me. And to this day, every time I see Vito, me and him talks about just specifically that one match. We have multiple matches together already,
Yeah.
but that one match is what made us friends. If that makes sense, like that was the match.
He's a great guy inside and outside the ring.
Yeah.
So, I was going to wait and tell you this, Big Money, but, we've got Vito July 31st, correct?
Yes, sir.
Today, I just booked the CWO.
Yeah.
Commando World Order.
Yep.
So
Okay.
we will have Commando and Lug Commandos on a podcast together in October
That should be good.
or September, whatever it was. I can't remember, but yeah, they're coming soon.
I know Vito has on the podcast, I think July, right?
July 31st.
July 31st. That's right. Yeah.
So here, let
Can
me
you
do one
give
real
us
quick.
your- Okay, go ahead.
I was going to ask him his top 5 brother tag teams.
Oh, so okay, this is a good one because people are probably going to hate me because I'm more recent. I actually like the Usos. Like I'm a big Uso fan.
Judy's.
To be honest, I feel like I feel like them and FTR is probably the two definitions. They're two opposite spectrums of tag team.
Yep.
I say they're more like the FTR is more grounded, and also the Usos is more showman. But like the flow of both teams is outrageous. So I would have to put top 5. So I would probably go Usos first because I grew to attach them early, and maybe because I live in Hawaii, so I'm gonna have some sort of favor to the Islanders. But for sure FTR as well. Brother, I will have to go with Matt and Jeff Hardy. Obviously they're given for me. Let me see. Um, You know who I wish would be a team, and I think they definitely should have done it was Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt. Because
They should
Yes.
Bo Dallas is a good worker overall. Like I think look for what he's been given, he's I think done good for himself. Like I feel like I don't know what he did with them to where he got dropped to the side, but when he had an NXT run, he was good. He has a good workforce. So does Bray. Now having those two as brothers, like that will be as a tag team, or at least being associated to one another is great. I think that'll be perfect. Will
it
probably
would
be,
make
if they
sense.
were a tag team, I would say probably Bray and Bo, and then the Briscoes. Then we have to go
Yeah.
with Briscoes. Sadly, sadly we lost one already, and it's that's an unfortunate situation, and it breaks my heart. And for the Briscoe, if for some reason you run into this podcast and see this, like I said, my heart goes to you and your family, and because you guys, I love tag team wrestling. I grew up with tag team wrestling, and you guys were literally one of the definitions of tag team wrestling. And I do appreciate you guys. So much love to you guys.
Yep. Amen.
Yeah.
Go for it, Nate.
So, can you tell us some of the differences of wrestling in Japan and then like, wrestling in like the United States?
So, all right. So the way I learned it is that the U.S. is more like crowd driven. So, like the flow, how a match goes, and how people wrestle, and how they compete, and how they rush, or how they do certain things, how impactful, certain things come out to be would be based on the crowd. If a wrestler does an example like a Orochi Gorochi, they do it right, and the crowd love it. Most likely, that wrestler's gonna go for it again because it popped the most. So they'll go for it. Unlike Japan, they're very quiet. Japan is very like soccer. It's like golf. You know how
Yeah.
no one's talking until the guy hits the swing and they go. That's basically how Japan wrestling is, and I appreciate it because their mindset is like, this is the sport. We shouldn't be making noise while these competitors are competing, at all. So it is a whole different mindset and flow with them. Sorry, can you fix this? Mindset and flow with them. I personally like the Japanese crowd because you'd be surprised. Like it feels like they have like a little like what's it called, a broadcast bar saying clap and laugh. Had some studios have those.
Yep.
How
Yeah.
they cue in so much is like on point. They all match, like they all know when to speak, they all know when to cheer, they all know when to do it, and there's no one's telling them at all, but they know exactly what to do, and they respect like the moments where the wrestlers like, okay, this right here is where they are taking their time. They're taking their time to breathe. Kind of like when you go to an amateur wrestling match, you don't want to keep yelling too much while the wrestlers are wrestling because they need their coach. But once the wrestlers are like break, ref separates them and they settle themselves, then everybody starts clapping, cheering. That was awesome. That was amazing. Da 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 da. So that's how Japan's, I guess, close relation to them. I can explain. That's how they are. And I love it, to be honest. I love
So
it.
I wouldn't fit in Japan because I got a loud mouth. So I'll keep talking and talking.
Maybe they'll probably shut your mouth for you. To be honest, Japan,
Hey.
you'd be surprised. They don't like it. I'm telling you, some of them will. They'll hold their respect, but there's some old heads, man. They grew back in the day,
Cool.
and they don't play. Like their mindset is like, we are the artists, we are the athletes, we're the ones performing for you guys, we're the ones competing for you guys, full competition, full showmanship, or everything, respect, because we work hard. We work hard to to be where we're at, appreciate. So, you'll see that. It's
That's true. So, what is the biggest name in professional wrestling that you have had a match besides Vito, but in any promotion or wherever?
biggest name. I don't know, to be honest. I don't say like, and I wouldn't say like be specific. So I wish I could pull up probably the list of them because I'm not too familiar with the promotion much. But I was able to wrestle Dragon Gate, like the promotion Dragon Gate. They came to Okinawa and they're like, we like your look, we like this, whatever. Come and wrestle for us, and we did it. And working with those guys was amazing. Like I always because you had Pac and all that some other time. This is before Pac went to AEW, and so fortunately Pac wasn't there, but Tajiri was there, and so Yoshitatsu. So I was able to meet them as well. Very professional people, very professional individuals. So like overall, I didn't wrestle Tajiri or Yoshitatsu. However, there were some guys there that have been in the game for a long time. So I will say wrestle name wise, I had 2 matches for that week with them. So it's kind of hard to point out specifically who. And if I had the list prepped, I would have told you. But I'm not too familiar too much. Like I know one of them is like something red, the red something. They're like big red or. But they're old dudes and they were like very respectful individuals. But yeah, everybody there took their time to speak to us.
Love it.
Yeah, I met a lot of big names though. Like I was saying, I was able to meet a lot of big names and actually had the time to sit down with them and talk to them. Like Minoru Suzuki was one of them. He probably doesn't remember me with this mask because I spoke to him without my mask, and he probably thought I was a fan, but very kind person.
Yeah.
I would never expected seeing how he wrestles in the ring.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
So can you give us your top 5 luchadors of all time?
Top 5 luchadors of all time. So we'll have to go with Eddie. It's for my number 1. Ray for 2. I wish I would done more research in the back in the old day with Mexico and stuff like that because I really didn't. But I grew up more with American style lucha, and I would say like Ray, Eddie,
All right, where's your next?
Psychosis.
Yeah. Great guy.
Juvie. This one more. Let me see. I don't know. I can say number 5. I don't know, but you know who I did enjoy watch? Who I enjoy watch come back? Those SoCal Crazy.
That's my boy right there.
So when I went to Cali recently, I was at the recent show with for Global Lucha Libre, and they had a show not too long ago. I think they had an Escondido, and I also saw SoCal and over at ORC, so he didn't match there. But I know him, like I know of him because when I went there, and I went to Cali in 2019, and I went to SoCal Pro and I met the people there. SoCal Crazy was posted there, and I was like, "Who's this guy?" And they're like, "Oh, this is one of the da da da." So they spoke about him, and I was wanting to meet him, and I finally met him, and I watched him perform. And even though he gives the credit for the young guys, but even then, like this guy still moves. This guy is still. So I would probably put, SoCal in that list. And then definitely the fact that he's one of the main ones, like still doing it. This dude just fought cancer and he's coming back to the ring. Like this guy that said, "Hey man, I'm gonna retire." No, this guy's like, "Hey, I'm good. I just beat cancer. Let me go back in and because a lot of his, I don't know if they're students of his, but a lot of guys that he helped train, trying to get the scene. And one of his things he's mentioned before when we were talking was like, having the ability to wrestle them. And so, he came back and, to me, at least to me, right? He probably was way more phenomenal than he was before. If he's trying to do his comparison, but he felt like he didn't miss a step when he came back, in my opinion.
I remember he had a show for his cancer, and of course, Big Money Exchange got to be a part of it. That's with Boom Shasta. I don't know if you've heard of him out here in SoCal, but we had a show in Costa Mesa, which was a lot of fun over there, and it was an honor just to fight for his cancer. It was a lot of fun.
That's a good guy. I didn't expect nothing out of. I didn't expect any. Sometimes people say you only meet your heroes, and so like he's exactly the way I pictured him. Very, very humble, very humble guy. And if you ask him any questions, he wants to give you any answer, give you advice. But he's very humble. He's very humble. So
smart guy in the ring. Very smart.
Yeah.
So who are your top? I'll go easy. Top 3 luchadoras. Female luchadoras.
This is tough because I don't watch luchadores like that, to be honest. The females.
Okay, so it was a hard question. Sorry.
It's a good one. I know you'd be surprised how much to be honest, like how much of at least lucha that I watch. Like I watched lucha, and I watched. I went out there definitely when I started getting into business. Like I was a big fan of Lucha Underground, so I learned that, and I learned where those guys came from, and but like I wasn't like Sexy Star was good. Like I enjoyed Sexy Star when she was there. I don't know like how she is behind the scenes and with the other locker, but at least from the performance wise, like she's good. And it's kind of hard because like what do you consider a lucha? The one that does luchador or the Hispanic? Because another one's like Thunder Rosa, she does both.
Oh, that's true. Yeah,
she does both. It's kind of hard. So Thunder Rosa is also another good one I like to see, like watching.
Where's she at nowadays? I haven't seen her
know.
on AEW.
Last time I thought was AEW. I know there was some situation with her in AEW or some sort of feud, but I think the one time I enjoyed her the most, and it wasn't even on a lucha promotion, was she was on Lucha Under. I think I remember calling. That's what the first time I seen her. But then the one I watched her the most was NWA.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, NWA, and I was like, man, like who's she? And I was a fan of hers.
Yep.
So, like to be fair, and like I said, like people could bash me for this. Like I don't really watch much of female wrestling, to be honest. Like I don't like. I've started recently watching it now with, like I'm actually a fan of Rhea Ripley, Bailey. They do good stuff. Like Becky, like Charlotte is very phenomenal to watch. Like definitely WrestleMania with that was probably one of my favorite matches with her and Rhea Ripley. This current WrestleMania,
that was a hell of a match.
Yeah. So like I watch, like I just start to be. So there's not nothing on them. Just like I didn't find like female wrestling was too interesting until I met him. I actually met like what's her name? I'm sorry, man. I'll go blank every time I'm trying to think about. It's like the Martinez and Sumi. But there's one woman that I love wrestling because in Japan they unless the promotion is very big, they somewhat keep the females and males separated. Like if you're a bigger promotion, so there's like Oz Academy, which is all female wrestling, and there's like New Japan just added a female division. That would never, New Japan never had one. But Big Japan and All Japan, at least that I'm aware of, doesn't have female wrestling. And the only time you ever see females wrestling with guys would be in the smaller promotions. And like in Ryukyu, we had one lady was Hibiscus Me. Mm-hmm. She was also known as Apple Mayuki back in the day, I guess. But when I met her, it was Hibiscus, and she could throw down like a dude, like So like I love wrestling her. Like when I had the opportunity to wrestle her, when we had a tag with her and Guruk and Mask, BB and Dingo and whatever, it was always a good time because like sometimes as a you want to be respectful and courteous to people and whatever, and they're all there to perform, they're all there to compete, they're all there to do whatever. You want to see no one hurt realistically. Like even in amateur wrestling, you go there, you're competitive. When you do a double leg takedown or single leg takedown or any sort of move, you don't want to hurt your opponent next to you. Nope. You're there to compete. You guys are mutual competitors. But I never had to worry about hurting Hibiscus ever. So like she could throw down, and by far one of my female wrestlers ever. I think even to watch, she was my favorite to even watch. She was good. I highly recommend her. All right, as well.
And Thunder Rosa just showed back up at AEW. There's a rumor that she's gonna be on the new Collision show that they just announced.
They got 3 shows now? Like, they're just trying to catch up with NXT, and they're trying to add new shows. Next thing you know, there's gonna be AEW main event. There's gonna be AEW Velocity. What did WWE had on or was that time WWF? What did they had on Sundays? Sunday Heat? Was like Sunday Heat?
Sunday Night Heat.
Sunday Night Heat. And WWE could better pick up with stay with those. Like
right.
It's kind of funny you brought that up because they're saying that's what Rampage is gonna turn into.
Well, I saw Rampage. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. They said Collision was gonna be like the number 2 now, and then Rampage would be like their Sunday Night Heat.
I wouldn't say that because I feel like Dark is more like their Sunday Night Heat or their
I
NXT.
agree.
Rampage to me, and it still gives me the feel of like Thunder, like the WCW Thunder.
Yep, I remember.
Yeah.
That's what Rampage gave me the
Yep.
vibe of, and I don't think, to be honest, until Collision comes on air and find out how it goes, I can't give that number. If that one, that's their goal to make it number 2. Like, to be honest, like NXT was supposed to be a third brand to WWE, but it never really flourished like that. And I think the same thing may go with Collision. But Rampage is a good show. You know,
Yeah,
I watch a lot of Dark because there's
great talent.
there's great talent, even local, like friends of mine that I've met. You know, like Judiz was another one that he was on Dark, and then also Vic Capri over at Chicago. You know, he's the Vic Capri. So I watched that. Because of those talents that are there, because a lot of them are trying to make a bigger name for themselves or whatever. They play with the local talent, and I like to see that. I
do that more often, I think.
Yeah, I do. And maybe some biases, like I know these guys, and we're friends or associates or whatever the case would be. Like, again, every wrestler wants the best for each other. I will say that I will love if they show up on television, they get the opportunity, man. Like, I don't know how the business works in that level to where, like, once they do that one and done deal. I just do enjoy compared to WWE, where they give local talent squash matches.
Yeah,
like the match with Vic Capri had with Tony Nese over at AEW Dark. Oh, I don't know. I think it was Dark. It was a legit match. Did it last long than I expected? No, but it was a good match, and I did not doubt at all that Vic would pull the fight in that show. But I feel like if that was the other case on the other person's side with WWE, it's like, okay, we'll give him to like a Braun Strowman, or we'll give him to somebody big and squash him. Like, come on, man. Vic Capri's a vet for how long? Maybe he's never been in WWE, or maybe, like I say, he has, but maybe never been in your main roster. But, like, come on, you got to respect the guy's been in the business for I don't know how long now.
Right.
I agree.
So I like AEW in that aspect. Definitely when they do with local talent and they give more opportunities. So you see new faces all the time. I know that's a good thing or bad thing, to be honest, that they clutter their roster like that. But I do like the opportunities that AEW provides.
The door is open over there compared to WWE.
I feel like the house show too, to my opinion, right now is also Impact. Impact's been getting some good talent there too.
Yeah,
Impact Wrestling. I don't know what they're doing there, but the Impact's pulling some good guys, and like, you just find it's crazy. Like, some guys that I've met, and like I know they're good. So like when I see them on TV, it's like, oh, this is gonna be a good match. It's gonna be good.
Yep.
Yeah. So you mentioned you like Lucha Underground.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on that? Because some people liked it, some people didn't.
Well, because I'm Hispanic, everybody knows about the telenovelas, right? So the Spanish soap opera, that's what I saw. So I don't know if I was a big fan of that, like the whole like supernatural stuff, and right. But the talent there was outrageous.
It was insane.
It was insane talent. Like when I knew Ricochet was gonna be Prince Puma, and I was like, "There's no way this dude kills it." There, it's like, and he has a very high flying background, but he's not lucha, and you can kind of see it. But like, you put that mask and don't put his name to it, you have no idea. Like, I didn't know it was him until I saw his tattoo. And I'm like, that looks familiar, and I looked him up. I was like, oh, that's Ricochet. But yeah, that show was outrageous. Like, talent wise, we had Brian Cage doing flips. I'm like, yo, big man's don't. He defied the odds, like Brian Cage, and that's another guy I met too. And I was like, man, this guy can move.
He's a character.
Now, this guy can move.
Yeah.
You know who I did enjoy that I met, and I know depending on the question, but I did enjoy watching, was Rocky Romero. I met him here and there in Cali, and sometimes I do meet some guys that have been there and done that, and they don't give me sometimes the light of day to speak to them. But Rocky, him and Matt Sydal, they sat down with me, talked to me, and spoke with me, and again, it probably was I was annoying to them probably. But like, I hit him up on Twitter. I hit him up both, and it may not take like right away. So maybe I'm not like, so I'm not close friends, or maybe not a friend associate, but they see that and like, oh, hey, how you been? How you doing? And this, and like, hey, like, this is my thing. Some guys, they even offer sometimes to send me what you got so I can see so I can give you critiques.
Yep.
Because, yeah, that's why I tell him, like, I don't want to hand up. I don't want to leg up, whatever the term will be. I don't want you to put me out there for New Japan or put me for AEW. But I would like a veteran like yourself to look at my stuff and tell me what I can do. Like if it's the look, if it's the
Get
way
the
I
advice.
the move, I'll take that advice and and then make it my own. And I do appreciate definitely him and Matt that took the time to do that. So yeah, shout out to you guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
So, what's your opinion on death matches, and have you or would you be a part of one?
I'm not a fan of it. To be fair, I am not a fan of it. I do enjoy some of it. It depends, I guess, who does it, who is part of it. But I'm not a fan. Like I was even a fan of, was it back in the day, backyard wrestling was the thing where they basically was death matches in the back of in the backyard.
Yep.
Stapling to the head. Like I don't know. But there are some guys that do it well. Like if I saw Tommy Dreamer doing it, I'll definitely watch Tommy Dreamer do it. If I saw Mick Foley do it, and I don't even know if Mick Foley even started as a deathmatch guy, but he was willing to put his body to the line for the business. So if he wants to be put in that category, he is going to be. Him as Mankind, for sure. Cactus Jack, all that stuff. So Mick Foley, like if he's on it, I'll watch it, like for sure, Mick. But overall, nah, I'm not a big fan of it. And would I participate in it? To be honest, they gotta pay me a lot. To be honest, they gotta pay me a lot for me to do that.
So, if you had a dream opponent from any era, what would it, or who would it be, and why?
Ooh.
Any era. This is tough. If a dear opponent of any era, I would say, and it's not because I would want to. I think I think he just works well, definitely for guys my size. Even though I'm not a cruiserweight, but I move like 1-2 people. It'd probably be Batista.
Oh.
Because
Nice.
you can knock Batista any way he wants, but that dude, when every time he had a match with Ray, it was good. So if I have to have the same build for somebody, if I could pick somebody right now, I'll say Drew McIntyre, current roster, Drew McIntyre.
Wow.
To be honest,
Wow.
I will do Drew.
Okay.
If I want to say current roster, if he can pop up to any location right now and I can get a match right now, be realistic about it, I will say Drew McIntyre. I would love to have a match with Drew McIntyre.
Hey Vince, book him.
I would love to have a match with Drew McIntyre. It'd be amazing. I feel like he's just a guy. Like he's a big dude. You can have the David Goliath scenario. He's always entertaining. I don't think I ever skipped a beat. You can skip a beat with Drew McIntyre.
I think WWE is doing him wrong, though. That's just me.
So I agree. I do. And again, I've seen it from maybe the bias standpoint because I am a fan of his. I agree. At the same time, but you gotta keep in mind, like that business has so many people that they can only pull for so long, and everybody kind of has a rotation. And I don't know. That's how I see it, and I'm not sure if that's how it goes. But it seems like a rotation. Like Drew McIntyre had his time, he got his stuff, and then okay, boom. And I feel like that's what they with Kofi Kingston. Like they feel like they owe Kofi Kingston. Like he and they did, like rightfully so. Kofi Kingston deserved to be where he was at.
Yep.
But it's kind of I do feel like them doing them dirty. I would love to see him and Sheamus work tag.
That would be nice.
Yes.
I would love to see him and Sheamus work tag. They got similar styles. I think I would love to see those two work.
So before you ask your next question, I have a follow up to that. I saw in another podcast that you did that you have a sword that you use. So if you did the match with McIntyre, would you guys incorporate both of your swords into the?
Hey, a word must have. A word must have. He called himself the Scottish Warrior, and I'm the Crow Warrior. Might as well.
Book it, Vince. Money.
That would be awesome.
If he wants to have fun, he can add put the swords with no shields or nothing. Just go raw.
Yeah, you are the king of follow-up questions. You know that?
I am.
That's a first.
And just because I'm driving doesn't mean I can't act. I can't participate in the podcast now. So.
Oh, you're here.
Oh,
My bad. I
okay,
forgot all
then
about
by
you.
all means.
Well, no, I mean it just seems like you're just having too much fun. You know, it's.
No. I would never be that mean. By all means.
All right. Well, in his opinion, who is the best wrestler turned actor?
Batista.
God, I love this guy.
Batista.
Well, I guess he's big
my-
money talent then.
Well, my opinion was complete shit when I watched Blade Runner. When he had that little bit scene, that was straight raw Batista. That was like that dude. I seen him. There's a Netflix show he did called something, not Thieves. Was it the zombie movie? Like, but you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Where he's like going to Vegas to save this girl, I guess a girl or save somebody, right? His daughter walked in there into the zone. He went to go like this, and there was another movie where he did with a kids movie. So I felt like he's doing kind of everything like what The Rock did. But to be honest, I think it's better because for me, like I love Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Like I am a big fan of his, like I do. But I feel like The Rock does The Rock, and he's smart. He picks roles that fit his character. But I feel like Batista can be molded to the role that they want him to be. The only backdrop to these two guys that they're massive. So like, you know, you can't put them in a spy realistically in a like serious spy movie because no spy is gonna be that damn big. You know, they'll be given away. You know, like that guy is definitely not a normal person.
You can't really hide when you're that big. So.
Yeah, hey, go in the trash can. I can't.
True story.
Yeah, but Batista, I would say Batista. John Cena's fun too. I'll say John Cena, but he's more on the comedy side. So if he sticks in that realm, he did go that one movie where he's like, he becomes, they go to like a vacation. The couple go to vacation, they meet him, and then they become like good friends or whatever. Like, I was dying with that movie. And then Peacemaker, he did phenomenal in Peacemaker.
Yeah, he did. He really did.
And they got serious at the end of the movie. I was like, so he's not a clown. So he's not... Yeah.
But that vacation movie he did, you're right, that was hilarious.
That movie was good. John Cena. Yeah. Well, he did another one. I didn't watch it, but apparently he got praised for with Amy Schumer, where he was like a drug dealer. Apparently he did very good on that one. That's like what cemented him as a comedy type dude. He did that. He was like very serious and very like. Apparently he maintained composure while everybody was breaking character, on the set. So I was like, okay,
right.
But
now he looks like JBL.
Yeah, he does. So we gotta find an Eddie lookalike to recreate the feud between JBL and Eddie Guerrero. I think that's my favorite one. One of my favorite ones too.
Yeah. So how many titles have you won, and are you a current champion right now?
I've won no titles, and I've been in main event pictures. A lot of the time matches I get, like I don't get the cleanest ending. You know, a lot of it, and I think, you know, I do put myself out there as a very strong individual. I do carry myself out there with composure. I do carry myself out there. So, you know, so I think that's one thing Vito always tells people too when they want me first, like, hey, you want a show, get this guy, and if you want a good match, get this guy. And then I want to toot my horn, but he even tells me, like, you know, even on his bad days, you'll get a good show. You'll get a good performance. You'll get a good match. He'll put the opposite person. He'll test the opposite's strength. And he said they don't call him for a word for no reason. I'm saying, but I don't know if he said that, but I would love that he said. But I've been in a couple title matches, never won one myself. But to be honest, I want the gold. Like I'm not saying that I won't want it, but I think now that I'm, you know, I've wrestled for 5 to 6 years, and I'm still a youngin compared to the business. I like the amount of people that I'm able to get. Like I was able to work Anthony Idol. I was able to work people like that. So like, you know, guys like that don't have titles. And so if I wasn't had a title run, I'll lose opportunity like that. We probably matching other title type people, and you know, and a lot of title faces, you know. And then I think that's one drawback of being a champion is that you get stuck with this specific pool of people that they want you with, unless the individual that they're going to give you somebody you're looking forward to. But like because I am not bound by the belt, I do I do have the freedom to to wrestle these phenomenal people, but I've wrestled champions, and they're good. They're good.
Well, Vito has like 4 titles.
I know, but to be fair, if Vito can drop being such an ass in regards to people in the ring and be a good guy like myself, out there sometimes, right?
I
Um,
heard that.
because I do both, it depends where I'm at. Like some people rub me wrong. Like, that's why I call myself the old man. Like people tell me, like, are you a good guy or a bad guy or whatever? I'm not a tweener. I'm definitely I'm gonna be one or the other. But it also depends on my opponent. But I feel like I would definitely have a phenomenal chance. Uh, match with Vito by tagging with Vito. I've done that one time and it was a good time. He'll be my Big E while I'm his what's the dude Xavier Woods doing all their little little man big man tags.
That would be
So
good.
he'd be your Big E then.
He'll be my Big E.
He's a big dog. He's
good. Like I said, and then don't let his size fool you, man. That dude can go for a big dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's how he got me in our first match. I didn't expect how big he moved. Like typically when I work the ring, I'm typically the fastest person on the ring. Typically, depending on the person, I usually my cardio's compared to what people say is pretty good. But Vito, like he stopped. Like he's like, you're not going fast, and you knock me down quick. So
he's a powerhouse, but he can move.
Yeah, he can move. He can move.
Really can.
But I would definitely trust my life on Vito's hands. Like I have no doubt. If I had to go against him, anything he will do is not a malice or not there to destroy me, if that makes sense. But
Yep.
But Vito knows I come back him full.
Well, it looks like I had to talk to Vito, huh? Book that match.
Well, you talking about in July? You talking in July? There you go. There's your opportunity.
Yeah. There you go.
He's a good booker too. He's a really good booker.
It is a funny thing about it. Like I've known Vito since I think 2019. So we've been. I'll say I would not actually say if he says otherwise, I'll probably go in there and smack him myself. But I'll say that we're very good friends, and we talk all the time. And I never asked him if he was ever a booker, but he for sure if I had talked to him like, hey man, what's the hottest thing right now? What's going on? What's the deal in California? Like he knows. Like,
oh yeah.
They hit here, talk to this person, do this, do that, send this resume here, send this person here, blah, blah, blah. So, like, between him and Anthony Idol are the only two people that I talk to when it comes to California.
Have you heard of Amazing Junior?
Amazing Junior.
Out here in Southern California. His brother is OG Playboy.
I have heard of. I feel like I've heard of Junior before. But I don't think I've ever met him or seen him.
Oh,
okay. I'm very good with faces. So if you give me a picture of him, like I know him.
Yeah.
That's why I wear a mask. I'm good with faces.
Can I get something? Do you want something to drink? Do you want water or a pop or something?
You can drink that
if you could choose WWE, AEW, Ring of Honor, or Impact Wrestling, which one would you sign and who would you want to wrestle?
Okay, so you already knew I want to wrestle, so I'll say WWE because of McIntyre.
Okay.
To be fair. And then I say LWO is a thing. So if they need another Latino to jump into the LWO, I can definitely do that. If Ray doesn't want to be part of them anymore, they need another mask guy. I'm ready. I think I'll say I don't know. It's kind of tough because to be like frank with everybody, I feel like I've heard good and bad about WWE. It depends on the opportunity, the person you get. Sometimes it's such. Then that power goes with AEW too. You're such in a big roster, you may get lost in it. So I probably will pick something small like Impact because of or ROH only because it's part. You have more visual on that. As a business standpoint, maybe. But if I had to choose with getting the full benefit of the experience, I would say WWE for sure.
Tony, you got a question?
There's a lot of talking up there too.
What advice would you give to an up-and-coming superstar?
Always ask questions. Always ask questions. That's one thing I learned in Japan. After a match, I will go to either the guy that wrestled, or the promoter, and ask. In Japan, it was hard because I was saying like one of my interviews I did was like they like to grunt a lot, so you can never.
Get a
I
straight
can
answer.
never get so like with the big like the Dragon Gate show, like I had a good one. I got a compliment like one of the guys said I had probably one of the cleanest German suplex because yeah, according to them, like I had one of the cleanest German suplex. That's one of the guys that at Dragon Gate gave me like that compliment, which is phenomenal. After the match, I went to another guy that wrestled. I think it was his tag team partner, and I say, "How did I do?" So I'm saying, and my Japanese is terrible, and it's still terrible to this day. But I try my best to, ask like, "How did I do?" And he'll go, and I'm just like standing there, like,
yes,
and, like I'm impatient, like not in like in a rude manner, but I'm like, is he saying I'm bad? And so it's like what is he saying? Because to me, like I looked up to Dragon Gate, like Dragon Gate was great, so I was like, oh man, this is my first time, and he goes, Daijibu. Maybe he says okay or good in Japanese, and I'm like, I thought you were good match, and that's it. I went to Dingo, and the only guy there that speaks English is Australian, and I was like, he's like, what do you say? He grunted a lot and said I did good. Oh, that's good then. I'm like, how do you get that from that? They're like, what? But always ask questions. Like, don't ever. And I do it to this day. Like, I'm currently with Unify, so I'm currently with Loose Wrestling out here, and like with the new guys, because they're an academy-based promotion as well. From like they're like a subgroup of the Wild Samoans training center as well. So and one big thing is that they come out to the match, and I'll tell them like, hey, like Rain, she wrestled. She's I don't know if she's in out of retirement. I don't know if she can make that decision, but Rain, if a female wrestler, like go talk to Rain or go talk to the person you wrestle, go speak to her. If it's a guy, like go speak to Aleki. Go speak to the Pineapple King Aleki. Go speak to this guy or speak to the person you have the match. Just ask questions to know what you can do better. Because if you have this mindset, even if you have a phenomenal match, you can have Dave Meltzer's 5-star, 7-star match or whatever star broken record he does, like 1,000-star match. If the fact that you take that as a complacency, that's terrible. You should be like, okay, well, I had a good match, I had a great match, I had a phenomenal match, but there is something there that I didn't do well. What was it? And then a lot of times you won't ever see that yourself because you're biased to yourself realistically. So you always want to ask the person that was outside looking in. You see, like, hey man, you were a little slower, your pace was off, your this was off, you got to do this better. When you do your suplex, snap it quicker, snap it slower. What are you trying to go out there doing? What was your idea? If you do a double leg, was your whole thing to slam, or was your thing to? So you ask that question so you can better it, and then eventually that becomes part of your repertoire, and that becomes your thing, and you execute it like a pro. And once you're done with that, then you move on to the next thing. So you always have to move on to the next thing. And eventually your body doesn't stay young. So your body's going to hurt itself, and there's certain things you can't do. So that next thing will probably be the next thing will replace the previous one, ensuring that your longevity. Because Ric Flair, that's one guy I can never understand. But he'll tell you like there are some things he no longer did. If you could look at NWA Ric Flair and back on the old territories Ric Flair compared to old now Ric Flair, he can do nowhere close to half the stuff he did. Only because he plays smart, and that's how he has such a long career compared to others that, and I think AJ's another one too that does a good job at maintaining himself. It's like AJ from Impact is not the same AJ from WWE. Way different AJ Styles. So, you always gotta ask questions. That's the biggest thing I was asking about. Always ask questions. Don't ever be happy with what you did. Always be happy. Enjoy what you did. Because definitely if you get compliments, enjoy it, but move to the next thing. Keep moving.
Sure. Go ahead, Nate.
What other countries have you wrestled for? And if not, which ones would you like to wrestle for?
Only countries I wrestled for was Japan and the U.S. wrestle people from other countries, you know, that make either that falls at their style. Wrestling was probably definitely during the NXT UK scene, like the UK,
Jesus
because they're strong
Christ.
style wrestling and all that stuff. Probably UK, European, maybe like the
He's
European. I
65.
feel like it's like California doesn't give me the full, maybe not the full experience of lucha, but California does its best. Definitely SoCal, where a lot of guys cross the border to wrestle in the US, and the guys from the US cross the border to wrestle in Mexico. But I feel like Europe is a good one. I feel like Europe is good because even Japan, the Japan style, it's you know they have the Japanese style. However, the Japanese style derives a lot from lucha libre.
Huh.
Yeah, that's why they call it like something like the Japonesa and all that stuff. It's it's just it's Spanish for Japanese. So it's like they're masked. If you know, like a lot of Japanese pro wrestlers, definitely in the indie scene, they wear masks. They mimic that of the lucha libre because for us, for a lot of lucha guys, and definitely back in our ancestor days. Definitely speak to people in Mexico. I'm Puerto Rican, but you speak to people in Mexico. The mask and what you wore in combat is what displayed your intimidation, your royalty. So if that's why you receive a lot of lucha guys, they wear a lot of shiny stuff. A lot of even though you'd be like, why would you wear like this glitter fabric and whatever? It's because your display shows your stature, and that's back in the day. That's just been our culture since the beginning, and so So the Japanese do the same thing. If you look at Japanese culture, how they wore their uniforms, and they're what they had like extra samurai swords, extra katanas, extra whatever to show their status. So I feel like they have that same relation. That's probably why they took. I mean, that's my assumption and why they took it that way, because what you wore and what you displayed is how you were viewed and how you carry yourself.
That makes sense. Yep.
Is how you define. You'd be surprised. A lot of guys in Japan wear masks.
That's crazy.
A lot.
Interesting.
Habu was probably the scariest one.
Habu.
Because that dude, he has this leather long strap that's considered like the tail of a snake, and he would use that in a match, and that thing can break skin.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Let's see. I already know. My question. So, I'm gonna steal one from both of you. I like anything peanut butter. What's your favorite snack and why?
So I didn't catch that. You cut off for a bit. Was that saying?
I like anything peanut butter. Peanut butter cookies, Reese's. What's your favorite snack and why?
Snack. I don't know.
And that was the first time I've ever asked.
Snack. Snack. That's a good question. So,
man, I got this guy.
So the reason why I say that's a good question, because it's gonna probably throw people off. It's gonna be like ill. So I love peanut butter. So like if I had to go the peanut butter route, I would say probably a Nutter Butter. Like those little peanut butter cookies. Those are delicious. But if I don't want to say that, the typical one, my wife actually introduced me to avocado and sugar.
Ooh.
So you get avocado. The guy's like, the guy upstairs like, ugh. So yeah, avocado and sugar. So you get avocado, and I'm not playing with you. I said the same thing. I'm like, what is this? And she's like, just try it. Like, don't knock it till you try it out. And I've been to other places, like, even though I didn't wrestle, I've been to like Philippines. I've done the balut thing where you eat the dead chicken or duck, whatever it is, so I've done a lot of stuff. So I was like, I'm not gonna knock it. To this day, one of my first snacks to have, like, if I can get a avocado, put a little bit of sugar, cane sugar specifically, and mix it, it's surprisingly very, very good.
Interesting. I wouldn't have thought of that.
Avocado and sugar.
Ugh. I need to go to the store. Oh.
Yes, now she just said gross, and I'm like,
don't knock it till you try it. Just try just a bit. Some people like it, some people don't. Typically, the people that don't like it are the ones that really don't like avocado. So that's to be fair. So like the people that knock it, be like, ew, because they don't really like avocado. But if you don't mind avocado in general, if you like guacamole, whatever, hey, just try it. You'll be probably surprised. If it's not your thing, it's not your thing. But hey, it's definitely mine.
Do we just put it on there?
No, and to reiterate, my wife said now I've got to take her to the store because she wants to try it.
Yeah, don't overdo the sugar. Like, don't take away from the avocado. You want to just put a bit. And the good thing about when you mush it up, and you're like, okay, this needs to be a little more sugar. You can add a little bit, and just keep adding until you find the perfect taste.
Okay.
It is good. I love avocado, so I eat avocado with, like,
Yeah.
you know, I'm typical Hispanic. I eat my rice, my beans, and my chicken or my pork chops, and I like those sliced avocado. Never would I associate avocado with a snack until that day my wife, you know, put that there and said, oh, well, try this. I'm like, you lying. And I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. It's good. I used to me it is. You know.
Not gonna lie, I kind of want to try it now.
Yeah.
Right?
Nope, not me.
Everybody's doing
I'll
it,
try
Tony. Everybody's doing it. Peer pressure.
My wife said
That should be my next merch.
For me, so.
That should be my next. That should be my next merch, like avocado eating crow. Just like just do it.
Save me 2x. 2x. I'm done. That does sound good. Why am I thinking about it?
You're not a wrestling
because
fan,
it's
but I bet you
new.
should wear that shirt. I would too.
Because it's new. I'm trying.
I'm going.
And then you have one of you have my Facebook, so you can knock him like, "Yo, bro, this is disgusting." Like, all right, well, like, hey, at least you tried it, or you're like, "Yo, this is very good." Like, so you know you have it as like a you'll take it to the next person. Your next Thanksgiving, like, what is this garbage? So this is avocado with sugar. You're like, oh my god, they'll try to dip the chip with the thing is guacamole. You're like, don't do that because you're gonna ruin it.
Yeah. And, you know, that shirt idea is a big hit. My wife's not a wrestling fan, and she said she'd wear that shirt.
Well, your wife doesn't know. She needs to become a wrestling fan. So,
hey, look, the fact, listen. I will say this: the fact that your wife said that she's not a wrestling fan means that I need to make this happen. Because what appeals me the most is when you pull somebody that's not a fan into the world because of a shirt. Like, hey, come on, it's a shirt bet.
Yep, it's gotta happen now.
Now I got to put avocado.
Merry Christmas.
Tony, you got a question?
Now, if he makes that shirt, I'm gonna be in trouble, right? Okay, so if you could book your ultimate card if you were a booker, if you could book your ultimate card, who would be involved? What matches would be included?
All right. Oof. All right. I'll say maybe I'll say a 5-card show, right? Let's keep it small, or maybe 3. But let's say 5-card show, 3 beginning to an intermission to the semi and the main. All right. So ultimate would have to be probably. I think the person that will set the tone will probably be Macho Man and like ultimate, right? Ultimate, like current roster, like if I could pick anybody.
No, anybody.
Macho Man, WrestleMania 3, I had to do Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat. I have to do that.
Yeah.
Because that'll be a good opener because they will set the pace and then they may get mad at me like I am a main, you know, they're probably like, you know, hey boy, you know, I'm a main event star, not an opener, you know. Oh yeah. But I'm like, yo, Macho Man, you have to like, come on, bro, like work with me, man. Like work with me, I'll double your pay if I have to, you know, like it's fine. Like hit the I'll say because it's such a caliber high, I will say probably the second match. Only because I like the big guy, small guy too. The deal I probably put right now is having a few is probably a Swerve and Keith Lee. Number 2. And the reason why, because I feel like they maintain the pace that it'll be something different, but they'll maintain the pace for it. All right, so third card will probably be. I don't know his name. I think his name is now Butch. I am a big. I thought it was Dunn.
Pete Dunn.
Pete Dunn was. I know.
Pete Dunn.
Yeah. Butch now, but I would say Butch, and probably the Ace, that dude guy that just hit the Irish dude. Oh, he's good. McDonough. Fourth semi. I'll put my boy the Usos against FTR. I think they'll work well still. Very grounded because they're my two favorite. Because I feel like FTR will bring the more traditional style of wrestling, and then the Usos will, go. So you get a bit of both, and to be on that end will have to be my opinion. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Ooh. Yeah.
Cody Rhodes without the pectoral damage, because Cody Rhodes did perform that way with that match. I feel right now that I'd probably be hated for this. And sorry, McIntyre, not put you in my main event. But Cody Rhodes, like, that dude is a gem. That dude touches anything so far in terms of go, even on his back. Like even the match between him and Brock Lesnar, the match between him and Roman Reigns. Like it was like people felt the pain when he didn't win. So I feel like he knows how to pull the crowd into the situation when needs be. And Seth Rollins, that man is also like that man needs to be a champion, to be honest. Seth Rollins definitely needs to be a champion again. So I will probably put Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins because that match they had, I think, was Hell in a Cell. Remember correctly? Yeah. If not Hell in a Cell, they had a match in a Hell in a Cell. So I would say those two, and hopefully not pectoral damage Cody. Not pectoral damage Cody, like full blown Cody.
Can I say it?
Yes, say it.
That
Yes, you can say
was the first.
It's kind of hard. So I have a lot. Like I'm a big Finn Balor fan too. I feel like Finn is not also being treated well. I think Finn Balor.
No, he really isn't. I don't.
But I do feel like that. I feel like the Judgment Day is going to definitely get their reign. I feel like that's what they're setting up right now. I feel like the Usos, like the Bloodline, is slowly going down, and then they're going to bring the Judgment Day. Because so far, Judgment Day has been in the spotlight with Dominic Mysterio, and now Rhea Ripley is the WWE SmackDown Women's Champion, and so I feel like Finn's going to take it one day. The only thing I don't know is I hope they don't do what they did with Edge to Finn or Damian Priest. So I feel Damian Priest is in a good position. I feel like, to be honest, to me like the Judgment Day is evolution.
Yeah.
You have your the difference is you have I feel like Dominic is more like the Finn is
Careful,
more like
he was in prison for 30 minutes. He's hardcore.
Hey, he's a danger. Be careful. Yeah, I gotta be careful so Dom don't kill me. I feel like Rhea Ripley, I don't want to put her in the back, but I feel like Rhea Ripley is the Ric Flair. She's very talented, and only because she is the only female in her group. Like Ric Flair was the old man in the group, the wise man, the one that always held them together. He really had much matches, which I feel Ripley doesn't have much matches with the group because she is a female. So I think by default she is the Ric Flair because she's been assisting Dom. She is the piece to Dom. Dom is the Randy Orton.
And I think Murphy's getting a little too jealous. That's why he's coming back to WWE.
I'm a big fan of Murphy. Hopefully he does. I was a big fan. I feel like that. And then Damian Priest is Batista, and then Finn Balor is Triple H.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. I think the other reason that Rhea's the Ric Flair is that, like Ric Flair in Evolution, he was always the one that everybody kind of looked to, like when there was a problem. Like, hey, Ric's gonna like talk us out of this or whatever, or intimidate the guy out.
Oh, but she's the opposite of that. She antagonizes everybody. However, she does stand in the way between their competitors and Dom. So Ric Flair did that a lot too, where he will stand between the wrestler and mainly Triple H. Will stand between him and Triple H. I've never really watched much of Rick with Randy. I feel like maybe he had also that dynamic too, because he had the Legend Killer moniker. But I would say, at least for sure, when I watched the Triple H matches, Ric Flair did get in between them all the time, which Rhea Ripley does with Dominic matches. He gets between them all the time. So that's the only reason why she defaults to Rick. All right. What's the other group? I didn't want to say the other group. I said, like D-Generation X. She's China. She's China.
Yep.
Yeah.
Just by heads and down. Nothing against China too. She was like the ninth, what they call the ninth wonder of the world. She was a unique individual at that era, but Rhea Ripley's like hands down way beyond talented compared to China. But China,
I would have loved to see that match though.
I think Rhea Ripley would freaking eat China alive. To be honest.
Really?
Yes. At a realistic standard, realistic standard, I think so. Because China, like if you look at China matches, like China, she did good for what she was designed to do. But Rhea Ripley, I'm about to say Ric Flair. Rhea Ripley, put her in any situation, man. Like it's. Nah, she. I feel like she did most of what she did. I feel like China, but not maybe because of the era. Like I'll take my opinion back if she was still alive and she was young, like Rhea, and put in the same area like a China lookalike, then maybe my opinion would change. But I feel maybe China was better than what I think because of the era she was put in, because it wasn't female strong. Divas. There was more sex appeal and eye candy. They weren't really competitors. So for what like between her and Jackie were like probably like the most believable wrestlers there, even though like realistically, but Rhea, I feel like from just my personal opinion for what I see, I think Rhea Ripley would destroy China.
Wow.
And I would agree with that. And I think Rhea Ripley is more well-rounded than China ever was, right? Like, because Rhea can do the submissions, and she doesn't fly a lot, but she can still do stuff off the top when she wants to. Where I don't know if China could have done that.
True, but I think China has a better. So I think China, a lot of China matches again. You have to view the competition that was there at the time. China not submitted, but beat a lot of people, and it didn't last that long. The only time she ever had long matches were actually with dudes. With dudes. That's it. Like female wrestlers, she squashed them. But realistically, look at the female wrestlers they had back then. Like they didn't have much. Like Alexandra, I don't know if Alexandra Blaze was even part of the era. I think Alexandra Blaze was. Alexandra Blaze was like the forefront of her time, but I think she was in the back end of her career by that time. And then you get young Stacy, Eye Candy, Trish Stratus, sorry Trish, but Eye Candy. She was Lita was probably the closest thing to another wrestler, but she was realistically also Eye Candy. I feel like these women that had so much was probably just not in the right time.
I agree.
But if China's my opinion about China would change if she had a Bayley, a Charlotte, Rhea Ripley in her time. If she had like what's that new chick? Something Perez, like she's nasty too. Like Thunder Rosa, like people like that. Like if she had those kind of women in that time and that level caliber, then maybe my opinion about China would change. But I would say China was very unique at her time and dominant at her time. Yeah. So that part you cannot take away from her.
No.
I agree.
So, can you give us your list of the top 5 commentators of all time?
Oh, Jim Ross, number 1. Jim Ross, I'm sorry. Jim Ross. Michael Cole's number 2. I think consistency. I feel like if you give Michael Cole that, but definitely now, like I feel like Vince McMahon's not in his ear as much. So I feel like a lot of the stuff he says is raw. I also like Corey Graves. I feel like Corey Graves is very good at what he does.
Yeah, he is.
I say Excalibur because he's very knowledgeable of the business and he speaks from that perspective highly. Because I think that's because there's the color commentator, which is usually like the rude guy, realistically. And those guys are usually the experienced wrestlers. Like, guys that were color commentator was like, like Jerry the King Lawler, Taz, Corey Graves, right? You don't ever get like the regular commentators. Excalibur is a regular commentator with that knowledge, and he speaks it out of. You don't have him bashing other wrestlers, because that's not his job. But you got a legit wrestler or a guy that's been doing it for a minute that knows the business and also speaks on that in that regard without that tainted view of being a color commentator.
Sure.
So Excalibur is good. Jim Ross was just straight up entertaining. He was just too good. Slobber knockers, all his phrases had me dying when I was a kid. And I would say, I'll give you 4. Okay, another guy that I wish he could do regular commentary, not color commentary. I would probably say is fuck. I'm sorry if I apologize for saying that.
No, you're good.
Dude's name, Wade Barrett.
Oh,
there you go.
Wade Barrett. And then he's only color commentary, but I feel like he doesn't really do his job well because he gets people prompts all the way through. He's like another Excalibur, but not fully the good side. So he talks very openly about what he sees. So Wade Barrett, I just feel like his career ended too early. To be honest, I feel like he shouldn't be in the chair. He should be there. And I think his momentum just due to what he had. Like he had a good spot.
He did.
I found him. I'll say Wade Barrett, number 5.
Yeah, and this might make Big Bunny a little bit upset, but I
So-
think Wade Barrett should be a manager.
Oh, no, I can see that. I can see it. I can see him. He has to be probably like for somebody that's of the European side though. He has to be a European manager.
Yeah.
He has to be a European manager because then he can easily back up like their side of wrestling. Like we're better, we're crazy. Like if he was like the Brawling Brutes, like if he was with them, an example,
That
they were
would
like
make
very
sense,
like
yeah.
he can easily talk. It's kind of like right now, like MVP is a phenomenal manager with when he had Bobby Lashley,
The Hurt Business.
the Her Business like that. I don't know why they broke that group. So I was so upset when that and then he went to Omos, which I don't mind. Like I think Omos really needed MVP. Like Omos really needed MVP. But like just like that, like he knows I guess you could say like being African American and all that stuff, and he's been with that group and being with how that is. He knows how overall the culture is. He knows how they play out, and he knows how to be that kind of like that being an African American in this business. So when he speaks, the mouthpiece of those of them in general. The same thing goes with Wade Barrett. Like if Wade Barrett speaks the piece of the European wrestlers, like anybody, definitely he can do it good. And definitely, if every single wrestler was an English wrestler, he would destroy as a manager.
I see it.
Yeah, but I don't see him.
Manager.
I wouldn't see him as a manager for like the bloodline.
American.
No, or an American. Has to be European specific and mainly English wrestlers.
Speaking about managers, not to brag, I know this is your number 1. Your top 4 managers besides.
Of course, he had to put himself in there.
Jimmy Hart is one. Top managers, that's hard. I forgot the dude's name because he was Omaga's manager. That dude was always.
Armando Estrada.
That dude was funny. That dude was hilarious. Always had me laughing. Armando, I don't know about. I don't think I can do this as a top 5 ranked to best to worst. I just gonna throw my just damn it. MVP. I would probably say MVP is my number 1 right now. Besides, if it's not Jimmy Hart being number 1, it'll be MVP because he's good. And it's kind of hard. Okay, my 3 number 1s would be Jimmy, MVP, and obviously the Wise Man.
Yep.
You give him anybody. I'll take that back. I'll probably put Jimmy and MVP probably for second. The Wise Man has to be number 1. And when he was with Curtis Axel, Michael McKillicuddy, how you say his name the first time, that was a tongue twister for me back in the day.
He really blew them up.
Yeah, anybody, even when he had who did he also had? He had
Rock. And...
Yeah, like Cesaro and Ryback.
Cesaro, yeah, like I feel like Cesaro, like that's one person that really bummed me out that they did not. And I think the thing is Cesaro, I never met him in person, but I've seen him in interviews, and I feel like he is very humbling as an individual. And I think he just talks kind stuff in general, but I feel like he's the one that's been done the most in the WWE.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's a go-to guy, kind of like Dolph Ziggler. Like I think Dolph Ziggler's. I'm not sure if he's happy where he's at. I'm not gonna speak for him, but the dude can sell. The dude's good at what he does. Like you need him to make one person look good. He's the guy. But being that kind of guy kind of puts you in that level the entire way. And I don't know if he's happy with it or not. True. So he's like too good. And that's why I put Cesaro. Like Cesaro's too good.
Yeah.
Like when he chipped his tooth in like the middle of the match, he didn't let that phase him. He just continued the match, and he showed everybody what happened. I'm like, this dude's a true professional. Yep. I feel like Cesaro deserved way more than what he got.
I agree.
All right, Mr. Tony Khan. Tony.
That guy.
Oh, I guess he's on. talking to us, Alan? You don't like us?
No, I'm here. No, I'm here. It's just sorry, I had sun glare in my eyes.
You sure it's not Nate's forehead?
I don't know. It could be the glare off the forehead too, you know. But
Just saying.
I don't know. Nathan, go ahead. I'll get a question here in a minute. Go ahead.
He's in deep concentration driving.
Hey, better be safe in the road. That's good.
Right.
If somebody came up to you and said they wanted to be a pro wrestler, would you train them? And if not, who would you send them to?
Right. If I would train them, I guess my humbling response would be yes, and also my humbling response would be no. And I feel like there's probably better people to train them. I don't know. Maybe I don't toot my horn enough, so maybe I'll say no because I feel like there are better people that I've trained. Maybe I've done it multiple times. Like I said, I've only been for 5 or 6 years in. So train wise, probably send somebody else. But again, if there was like, hey, I really want you to train me, I will be happy to. I think it's an honor if anybody thinks that your style is good enough or your skills good enough for to be trained by. Like that's an honor.
Yep, that's true.
So, so.
Have you ever thought of when you do retire, starting a wrestling school? If so, where would you want to go? That was the first, by the way, guys. Write that down.
Yeah, yes, it was.
A school. So, if I would love to start a school. If I will go, it's kind of hard because like where I'm from Tampa, Florida. So like Florida has wrestling everywhere.
Yeah.
To be honest, like
Starting
another school there, farting another school there is like maybe pointless. I don't know. I don't know what. To be honest, I probably find a spot like this is a problem business wise. Like you find a spot that doesn't produce wrestlers in general, then it's gonna be kind of hard because the talent pool may be that high. But you're always gonna have that one gym that may be there. I don't know. I'll probably just say Florida, somewhere in Tampa, Florida, only because I'm from there. Or maybe a Jacksonville, or maybe a Gainesville, or a college town, more likely like where they're actually like when they're, you get the amateur wrestlers or whatever that are very athletic. You usually have a lot of sports. I think in Gainesville, so maybe there. Oh, maybe.
Okay.
I don't know. That's a good one because I would love to start a school. I never thought about where, to be honest. I might end up in Utah. I don't know. Like Utah's nowhere. Salt Lake City is a salty. I don't know. So. I know the place I won't be. I love Cali, but I won't be in Cali for sure.
Oh, I got another question then. Can I ask another one, please? I'll give you guys
Nathan asks two all the time.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Sure, Nathan asks all the questions all the time, so go ahead.
About time it's my turn, a real man. Anyways, what do you think about the politics behind the scene?
I think it's dumb.
I already know.
I think it's dumb. One thing I've noticed one thing that hurt me the most, and I think I'll say this in Japan. Right, happened with me in Japan, and nothing knocking on any of the promoters there. Nothing. It's nothing basically what they did wrong. It's just crazy. So even though I grew up in Brennan and Ryukyu Dragon Pro Wrestling, I was never contracted with them. This gimmick, like this whole design, I drew that. Like the promoter designed this mask myself. He made my first set of gear. The promoter did, but I drew the design. I provided all this look. I gave him the gimmick, whatever, and I provided it to him. But other than that, what I learned was from him plus Hibiscus plus Dingo. So I was never obligated, like I guess you could say, like full loyalty to him, right? And I was never an official, I guess you say, student for the school because. I would say to people probably pay a lot of money to be arrested. I've been fortunate not to pay because again I was needed to fill a spot for a faction, so I was trained to fill a spot. So again, I had never had this sort of bounded loyalty. If that makes sense.
Right.
So I was never contracted with him. So if I wanted to go expand myself, when I went to California, when I was in Japan, I went to California. I went to other places to get my, get more of my wrestling fix. I spoke to a guy, a promoter. I'm not gonna say the promotion, and I'm not gonna say the person only because I don't want to make them seem that they're bad. Because he's a phenomenal dude. He's one of the guys I look up to. But I did send it. I asked him like, "Hey, I want to go wrestle for you. Can I come to mainland Japan and wrestle?" Because I've toured up mainland Japan. Everybody knows me in mainland Japan. So like, getting work wouldn't be that hard. So I was like, well, can I work? Or I want to get more work for you. This and that. He didn't say nothing to me. He talked to my promoter from RPW and says, "Hey, you have your guy here trying to get work from me." And then so I get kind of like scolded for doing that, going behind my opponent's back. I'm like, first off, I'm not a child. I don't need your permission to work anywhere else. I'm not contracted. I told him to straight up too, like I'm being honest, was like, I'm not contracted to you. I'm not your kid. I don't need your permission to work anywhere else. But I learned that they associate promotions, like the people in the promotion that work there the most, to be like you're theirs. And so that's one thing I've always told like people that with me, like after you do your wrestling school, go abroad. Don't make a home in one place because you don't want that person to feel like you're theirs. And then they will try to control the politics because in wrestling everybody's tight knit. And I've also heard like and I'm not gonna say again promotions, but I've been in California and I've heard people scolding a promoter because they were able to get a wrestler that the other person wanted, but that wrestler picked that promoter instead, and so they get upset or they don't want to do this, and then they put maybe put a nasty gram on the wrestler, and the wrestler may not get work with the other person because this guy did this. So I feel like it's dumb. Like we're all together. We're here to provide.
It's a family. We're
here to provide. Like I said, like I've never met a wrestler like to this day. Like, do I have my gripes and moments with certain wrestlers that act a certain way? Do I have my gripes and moments with some youngsters that are within my like? I've been in wrestling for like 5 to 6 years, right? But I've always, that if I have time to, like I've always helped build and tear down the ring, But we have kids that barely even hit a year. They're not helping building the ring, So I have my grassroots promotion with people like that too. Like you got to put your work in, and so that kind of might like I have it, but at the same time, there's no animosity. I'm not here to destroy you. I'm not here to in the ring. I'm here to destroy you. But other than that, I'm not here to destroy you. We're here to provide people a good show, a good match, and something to remember you by, so that when you want to go work somewhere, or I want to go work somewhere, they know who to look for. And if I'm good and we're good together, that's one thing I always say. Like definitely Vito. I told Vito too. Like, hey man, if they ever ask me for me, you're coming with me, and vice versa. Because again, like if I can pull my match myself, the main person I could trust my life with in the ring is Vito. So if someone says like, "Hey, I want you, but I don't got a spot for you. Can you bring somebody?" Vito's typically either him or realistically Anthony Idol will all be my main two, because again, you have the people you work with very well.
Yeah.
But I don't like the politics. I don't like how people get scolded or blacklisted because it's not even their fault. It's because the promoter, you favor one promoter because you like the way they pay you, or you like the way they treat you, or you're their champion, so you give them the you give him the priority, right? But because you did that, he's a scumbag. I don't want him or her is a scumbag. I don't want to work with them. This and that. It's dumb. It's
there's
dumb.
a contract involved, then you're
yes.
locked in.
Yeah,
you do you.
I told people that too. Like if you want me specifically to work specifically for you, and I'm willing, because again, it may limit me, but again, like I'm already at a point in my career to where like I'm enjoying myself, like I'm just having fun, and as long as you provide me work, I'm fine. If you want me to be an exclusive or someone exclusive, just give me an agreement. I mean, like if on a priority agreement, we'll agree on like some sort of contract that I will make you a priority out of other promotions if I have to do it, but you want to pay me well. I don't say like because you're being out working other shows means that I'm not going to be getting paid that I would if I was with you. So obviously the money has to be right. But I don't mind being in that situation if I get put. But if there's no contract, if there's no obligation to you, there shouldn't be. No. And that's what I like about AEW. That's what that's what I like about AEW, where they're like a lot of the wrestlers don't have the 90-day clause where like, hey, if you're not wrestling for us anymore, you're not wrestling for us anymore. Go ahead and do it, because at least I can tell maybe Tony Khan has that mentality, or maybe he has wise men speaking to him that these are the people's livelihood.
Yeah.
So that's 90. If you have a 90-day clause, that's 90 days. Well, maybe they get paid a lot of money too, so maybe that could buffer out. But that's 90 days of not getting work. That's 90 days of not getting paid.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So It's crazy. Like maybe big business. I can't speak for WWE or AEW. You know, they're like in a whole league of their own. They're like probably god tier level company based, but like for small promotions, like come on, man. Like there's no need for that. Like you want to provide wrestling.
You're not the WWE company.
And a lot of people want to be, and you know what? I find strive to be the best. I get it.
Right.
But until you start putting contracts in people, first of all, the fact that if you have the money to start making exclusive deals with people will get exclusive if you're paying them right, and they'll become yours, and then there's no arguing.
Right.
But if you don't got the money to pay them, realistically, if you have the money to own them or pay them, you cannot expect them to just stay with you. They're gonna go. We're all how you speak. We're contractors.
Yep.
You know, we're freelancers. We gotta go where the money goes. Like that bit of money that we make. You know, some people don't understand. Like, it depends on what you do. Like we don't get paid much, and then or we do get paid a lot. This depends on what shows you do. Like that money that you wanted me to give up can be my pay for the next bills, pay for this. I'm not gonna do that. No, I have people to take care of as well. So it's a whole thing. I don't know. Like the thing is, I'm not a promoter either, so I don't know. I can't speak for that. So until I become one and see how it goes and book her, then I probably could come back to your podcast whenever you guys want me, and I could talk to you in that view. But other than that,
Can't get the
No.
other than that, I can't speak fully. So I'm not gonna bash them for doing that, but I'm not a fan of it.
Gotcha.
Now I have another question.
Yeah.
I like
go ahead.
asking more than one question, so there.
And I'm happy to talk.
And I appreciate you very much.
Yeah, I appreciate this.
Do you believe putting up and taking down a ring is one of the main steps to getting into the business today?
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. You need to put the work in.
Yep.
Everyone did it. Every single wrestler did it. Like I say, like WWE, they have people to work for them. So but like you got people that are small promotions, they don't have like work rate. They have students, there's something that do it. And if I always tell them this too, always offer. If they say they don't need your help, then you sit down and that's it. But don't be the guy to be told to help. If they do, they're gonna find out who you're trained with, and they're gonna hit that person up like your dude is garbage, or your dude or that is garbage. I don't want her to be here anymore. And you blacklist yourself only because you didn't want to help. It's not worth it. And you gotta pay your dues, man. Like these guys are giving you an opportunity. Yeah, you're getting paid for it. You're giving their time, but this is an opportunity. You don't know the next thing, like a WWE agent, AEW agent, or anybody can be sitting in that ring and seeing you perform. They are giving you that platform to do so. Appreciate it. Help them build the ring and break it down. Like it doesn't hurt.
And I'll never forget when my faction faced the Brian Kendrick. He told me, unless if you've gotten to the WWE or any of the major promotions, you put up and take down that ring, or you'll never, get truly in the business.
Yeah, Brian. Yep. Then the Brian Kendrick is 100% correct. I also agree with him. That's a big thing, man. Like again, you got a lot of these guys are promoters that have been doing it for a long time. Like again, body doesn't stay young forever.
Nope.
And a lot of things like I've spoken to young, like old heads, and I'm sorry, like for any guys that take my comment as old heads. That's just how I speak, and I apologize. But all the veterans and all the seniors, whoever, like those guys, right? They still do that. They still break down the ring. So if you don't do it, that's another guy that has his or her body broken to do that. Like some guys can't pick up a plywood or whatever the material that the ring is heavy, whatever. It's because their body's jacked up and I learned that too because I don't know if you ever heard the story of Dingo because his thing became thing. He had a muscle. He had like a muscle eating disease. I don't know what it's called. It was not great. And he had to stop wrestling for a while. He just recently wrestled not too long ago. One of my mentors in Okinawa, and he was still trying to help with the ring. And the only thing I would say, like if you believe in kayfabe or not, maybe that's a whole different story too. Like if you can't be seen with the other person due to your situation, I get that. And then that's between you and the promoter, and I get that's you and the promoter. But if you do not help that individual that does this with this company, will have to do it. And I've seen it too many times, and it bothers me that these guys that are young, and I'm not saying young in the way of like age, like these guys, even in age, in the business, like I'm 5 or 6 years in, I got guys that have only been here for less than a year, not even helping it because once they put on the mask, once they get the gear, that's it. They
That's
don't.
all
They
they
think they
want to
made it.
do.
I'm like, bro, there's a whole world out there.
Yep.
And your work ethics will be translated because once you put something in your resume saying that, oh yeah, I'm a ring helper, this and that, and who's your references, and they can't speak for you. Oh, there. Well, whose fault is that? That's yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's. If you know how my tone changed, because that
It's
bothers me, man.
legit. It's legit.
That's,
And yet all these new up and coming wrestlers think I don't have to put up a ring. I want to play wrestler and go home to mom. That's all they want to do. It's all like, okay, you're in the wrong business, kid.
yeah, no, I agree. I agree. I can understand. Cause I understand if you're doing like some sort of. There's a reason why you're not doing it. There's a reason you're doing. That's between you and the promoter. I get it.
Yeah.
Or you have another show to go to. You got to leave and go. I get it. If you have to leave, go to a show at 6, but the ring doesn't get broken down at 7, you can't be there to help. I get it. But if you're there, you're not. You shouldn't be watching at all.
Or
You should
waiting
be
for
the
the
first
favor.
one and just ask, "Do you need help?" No,
Yep.
we got it. My students got it. They'll take it. They'll break it down. Or we got workers to do it. I appreciate that one question. It's always called a good morning, right? Giving the proper greeting, right? Good morning. That one good morning, that one good afternoon can make someone's day. That same thing, that
Amen.
assisting help can make your day. They will remember that. Like this guy, like he didn't build help and break the ring, but he
Hi there,
asked and we told him
Hey,
no.
Logan.
And so
Yeah.
they go ahead and they, I character is what builds you in the business, to be honest. If you're
Exactly.
good, you could be the best thing, unless you're WWE, unless you have AEW, WWE, any of those acronyms in your resume, you haven't made it. You can
Yeah,
easily end your career
exactly.
with one simple mistake by doing nothing, by being rude or disrespectful or not helpful.
Yep.
Yeah, and that works when you're not a wrestler too, because I live in Washington and I'm in a wheelchair, right? So, but I used to go to like the shows for like a year, and I would show up early with like my friends and stuff, and we would do the same thing because they were wrestlers. So
Yeah.
like they would go help with the ring, but I would come up in my chair and be like, okay, I can't, lift stuff, but what can I do, right? Like, can I carry a box in? Like one time they had me carry a ring post in because they put my electric wheelchair in the middle, and like put somebody on each side.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Are you sure you're okay doing that?" I was like, "Yeah, I mean, unless you guys stop, we're not gonna be in trouble." So
Yep. Yep.
I don't know.
Gotta put in the work.
Yeah, you do. You do. 100% agree with that.
That's right.
And if you speak to John Cena, you speak to a lot of like those old head, like those individuals, almost not old heads, if I get kicked out of this business. Well, all these veterans, all these guys that have been in the business for a long time. Once you speak to them, that's what they'll tell you. Like, don't like always do that. Like, I'm pretty sure like the Undertaker would tell you the same thing. Like again, the WWE doesn't do it because again, you have people that they hire to do it. They pay those people to do it, so that's their job. And again, get that.
Yeah.
Like if you got a promotion that doesn't have people like that or designate people like that, like help out, man. Like I'm pretty sure if every single person that wrestled in WWE or AEW sat down with you, spoke to you, and saw you do that, you would never step foot in a big stage ever again. That or you better be walking on water like Jesus Christ. Like you're good. That you're so good that they'll be willing to look past your character and let you perform. But what
Yeah.
I've seen with businesses with people that are very famous that have bad attitudes or bad work ethic, they don't see the light of day of WWE or AEW anymore.
Hey Tony, mute your mic. Mute your mic.
Now what? I forgot your pearl dish.
Hang on.
it's all good.
Sorry. So,
It's all good.
is it my turn to ask a question finally, or are you guys
Yeah.
going down memory
Well,
lane?
I'm still waiting for my Frosty. I hope you guys have it in one of those bags that I saw.
No
Okay,
Frosty
Tony.
today. Sorry.
Tony, ask your question.
Well, I just want to ask my final question because it looks like you guys are having fun. So I
We're
just want to
working
know in 5 or
overtime.
6 years. I just want to know in the next 5 or 6 years what mark you'd like to leave on the professional wrestling or lucha libre industry.
Being the best, I guess. Like I said, any wrestler, to be honest. But if I could probably modify your question, because I think someone asked me somewhat similar, and maybe this is the room I'm trying to go to, and I could be wrong. And I apologize if I'm wrong. So one person asked me like, "Do you see yourself going to WWE, AEW, or any of the big promotions?" And I told them I would love to see myself there. Like that should be everybody's wrestling goal to be
Hey,
there,
when you get into town, can you stop by 38th and pick up a foot
be
of fish? I'll
that
send her
top guy,
receipts.
whatever. But what I want, if I get up there, and God bless,
What?
you know, thank you for everything, and I will do my best to
I
make, you know,
said, can you swing by
Triple H or
38th?
whoever's in charge, you know, and Vince McMahon or you know, whoever owns what, and then Tony Khan will make them, you know, would like to make him proud of whoever promotion, Impact, ROH, whoever, or will make him proud. But what I wouldn't want to do is be so well known in this scene in general, so that when if I ever train a kid or bring a wrestler in, and I say, hey, put this guy or this girl in this show, that my word means a lot for them to get a spot.
Amen.
That's what I want to be. Like, if I don't ever make it to the top, that's fine. Like, you know, I feel like the closest person I can resemble to, he made it to the top, but I feel like he was not giving him much credit. What credit to was Lance Storm. Lance Storm, those times, like, he was phenomenal, right?
Yep.
But if you Lance Storm put somebody through, like, I feel like his stance in WWE wasn't as great as it should have been, right?
Yeah.
But Lance Storm, if Lance Storm was your trainer, you're going to get a spot. So that kind of where I'm at right now. Like the prestige, I guess the term is the prestige, right? Prestige, like the prestige of that name. That's what I would want. That's when it's like, hey, Cuervo told me you're coming up here. Hey, we'll give you a shot. That's what I want, because again, like Anthony Idol did it for me.
Yeah.
Dingo put in the work for me to be like, I was in a restaurant. He's like, hey, Vito puts in work for me. Like, that's how I started. That's how people know me, because of people putting the work for me. And I want to also give back. And that's what I want to do. But I want to be so well known to where they go from the West Coast, East Coast, Pacific Islands, that my name would carry. Like, oh yeah, I know that guy. I worked with him. I've done this. Or I've seen his work. He's phenomenal. He was your teacher? Perfect. Hey, we'll take you. That's what I would want, personally.
Yep.
Great answer.
So if that's the question you're kind of trying to ask, and I hope if it was, hopefully I've answered it. Hopefully I answered it.
Yeah, I think you answered it very well, actually.
Perfectly. So he has a nice ceiling in his car.
Yep. Do you have any other questions, Big Money?
Are you face or heel in most of your promotions?
So I say I'm trying to push for the face side, because I feel like face is much more challenging. But typically, I guess the way I sound and the way I act, the way I look menacing, and so they want me to be typically heel. But I'm basically whatever they have. But once I get once I find myself in more like, because I feel like in my situation with the island, like expenses and all that stuff, like COVID, I feel like COVID stopped a lot of things. So once I get the ball running again, I'm probably gonna push more for face, only because it is a very challenging position. Like heel, I'm not saying it's easy, because it's also very challenging to be a heel. There's a lot of rules you have to follow that you think you don't, but you do.
There's no rules in heels.
You think there isn't, but there is. You think there isn't, but there is. But yeah, there's a way you gotta break them.
Yep.
Because if you're this is my mentality is like, if you're supposed to be said as a bad guy, you break them. But yeah, you're getting cheered. Your job, you failed your job.
That's true. Yep.
That's why when people tell me, like, oh, why is he supposed to be a heel? Why is people cheering for him? You failed. He failed his job. He's not a good heel.
Sense.
So go do face, come back and let me know again what he is. Because right now he's definitely not a heel, because he didn't do his job.
Exactly.
But again, I think what destroyed that dynamic, to be honest, is the way the business is exposed the way it is now, because of social media. We have all this stuff. So people, I don't like to use the word mark, to be honest. I don't like to label people like that. But people that they consider to be very smart fans, I think they know the business. They go out there and like, oh yeah, well, he's a bad guy, but we need to cheer him because he's cool. It's like, no, like if you hate him, just hate him. It's okay to hate him. Because that's what he wants. That's what he wants. Like, well, you see in all sports, like Conor McGregor, he wants you to hit him. So when he beats the guy, you hate him even more.
Yep.
I don't know if Conor McGregor is a bad guy or not. The news says otherwise. I don't know if Conor McGregor is a bad guy. Floyd Mayweather is another one. That dude is cocky. He does it on purpose, because he knows if you hate them, you're going to pay them to watch them get your butt kicked. And if you disappoint them by being their opponent, guess what? They're going to keep watching. They go, like, Mayweather was part of the perfect business model for anybody. Like if you're a
Yep.
heel, he's the base main one you follow because people hated him. And he did it on purpose because he wants people to pay for his shows to find that one
Exactly.
boxer that can beat him. And
Yep.
everybody's, regardless how old he is, they're going to pay to watch someone beat him. So the more you hate him,
He's
the
annoying.
more you're going to tune in. Same thing for Conor McGregor. He did the
Yep.
same thing. I'm pretty sure all the guys he pissed off, they're probably buddies of his. I don't know. But he does it so like that one guy's going to beat Conor McGregor. I want to watch it. I want to see them shut his mouth. And we've been doing it since the beginning of time when it comes to pro wrestling. If you tune in to where crowds want to see your butt be beat, you did your job. If they want to see other something, again, I can't bash them either because it's how the new generation is nowadays, right? Everybody wants to be a tweener. I guess the term is that that's a term. Like everybody wants to be the in between guy. Like everybody wants to be Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yeah.
And nothing. I think Stone Cold Steve Austin destroyed us in that aspect in the business. He was good. He is good at what he and not was. He is good at what he did.
Yep.
He is what that era needed at the time. But not
Yep.
everybody is a Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like no one. Like if you watch a movie, if you watch a show, you don't want to watch that guy that's confused or the girl that's confused. You want to watch the good guy beat the crap out of the bad guy. You want to watch the bad guy beat the crap out of the good guy, and eventually the good guy come back and win. That's what you want to watch. That's what you'll tune in for. And so that is the business model you want to form. It's for any fighting, any fighting. If you don't ever lose because you're a heel, guess what? You don't ever lose. Guess what? But people are going to tune in to find out one wrestler is going to beat you. Roman Reigns is doing the best thing right now. Everybody hates Roman Reigns. And then they're always going to tune into a WrestleMania. They're always going to tune into a Backlash, WWE, whatever, to find out one team or one person that will beat him.
Take him out.
They're winning. They take him out. He is doing exactly, and I'm happy that he's doing that with him. I'm very happy. The Bloodline's probably the best thing that's ever happened to that company in a long, long time.
I mean, look at WrestleMania. Everybody thought, oh, Cody Rhodes is going to be the one.
Oh yeah, for real, and everybody tuned in. But even then, the match with the Usos and Sami Zayn and KO racked up numbers. That final thing,
huge numbers.
I'll say right now, that's probably one of the. If you're not talking about the old WrestleManias, and there, I feel like WrestleMania had like the one or two matches that stuck out. I feel like this WrestleMania, because they did the whole like 2-day thing. I was never a fan. It's like that's too much wrestling. I love wrestling, but there's sometimes a little too much. When you take over a lot of the network time, you're oversaturating the thing. But this WrestleMania, I tuned in since day one and then day two. I tuned in all the way through. The feud between Ray and Dominic was phenomenal. Yep. The feud between Rhea Ripley and Charlotte was phenomenal. Yep. Even the thing with Bianca Belair and I think it was Asuka, right? I think Bianca Belair and Asuka was great. Like I feel like Asuka, like I hope she gets what she wants from that company because she is doing phenomenal. She's a chameleon. She can do whatever. Bloodline, Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. Phenomenal at the end. It's every card, almost every match. I can't speak for all, but almost every match was great.
It really was.
That's probably one of the best WrestleManias. Definitely one of the best 2-day WrestleManias. There's also been better, I think. But I feel like
Saturday was my favorite of them all.
Typically, I think Saturday usually. I think that's what they did on purpose to front like the heavy load at the second day. So people to come back, that's the business. That's the business thing. But they did good by putting the Usos and Sami Zayn on their first night too, because everybody wants to see that. Everybody want to see what happened between Jimmy and Sami Zayn. Like that was the dynamic. That was like, but like I feel like the reason I say like probably is one of the best WrestleManias because this is the first WrestleMania that did in 2 days that was very compelling compared to the rest. All the WrestleManias was just 1 day. You can give me like WrestleMania 3 was Macho Man and Ricky Steamboat was one. You give me WrestleMania 1 was Andre the Giant and Hulk Hogan. Like you and there was other matches, but a lot of people can't really associate multiple matches in one WrestleMania. But this one you can definitely associate multiple matches on one WrestleMania.
True.
So, even the Brock Lesnar Omos match captivated me because that
match did its job. That match did exactly what it was designed to do.
Yep.
So,
Tony, do you have any more questions?
I don't actually. I think you guys did a phenomenal interview. Great job as always.
So where's my bonus?
He'll send your frosty later in the mail.
He'll send your frosty now. That'll be a milkshake eventually.
So Are you guys done?
Yep.
I'm questioned out, and it was an
Alrighty.
honor to
Well-
have you part of the podcast.
Oh, thank you for
Yes,
having me. Like I
thank
said,
you.
I appreciate you guys having me. It's an honor to be here and speak to you guys. And definitely, like I said, I grew up as a wrestling fan, so it's good to talk to other wrestling fans about not just about me, but the business in general. It's good to have
Exactly.
that trade-off dynamic.
So with all that being said, again, as everybody else said, thank you for joining us tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Nathan and I will be joining a historic milestone sometime next week. I will give you guys a little bit of a nugget. We're on episode 40 something. I'm not going to give you the exact episode because that would be too nice of me. Tune in sometime next week for our 50th episode.
Yep.
Together on this podcast.
The
But until then,
suspense is killing me.
But until then, for Big Money Dodge,
Yes,
I
sir.
am the executive chairman with the most, Tony, with our host who needs to go and get his flea dip from Big Dodge. So it's time to go get your flea dip and maybe a beard wash too, you know. And I hear there's a really
And a
good vet
forehead.
clinic. I hear there's a really good clinic on the island of Hawaii. So why don't you go get there and, ladies and gentlemen, help control the pet population. Please have your host spayed or neutered. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night, you guys.